When we think of the Middle Ages, we often think of chaos and darkness. But this era was actually shaped by some of the most brilliant leaders in human history. These men were not just symbols of power, they were warriors, lawmakers, and visionaries. They built empires from nothing and changed the way we think about honor and justice. From the frozen lands of Europe to the golden deserts of Africa, their names are still remembered today. Today on 5-Point Historian, we are uncovering the stories of the 5 greatest kings of the Middle Ages who changed the world. Before we meet our first legendary king, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring these epic stories to life every week. Now let's travel back to the birth of Europe. 1. Charlemagne, the father of Europe. Imagine a world where there are no big countries, only small tribes fighting each other. This was Western Europe after the fall of Rome. It was a time of great confusion. Then came a man named Charles, whom we now call Charlemagne, or Charles the Great. He was a giant of a man, not just in height, but in his ideas. Uniting the continent, Charlemagne spent his entire life on horseback. He led over 50 military campaigns. He conquered lands that are now France, Germany, and Italy. In the year 800, on Christmas Day, he was crowned Holy Roman Emperor. For the first time in centuries, Western Europe had one leader and one vision. He didn't just want to be a conqueror, he wanted to be a teacher. The real story, the king who wanted to write. There is a touching story about Charlemagne's personal life. Although he was a genius, he lived in a time when most people did not know how to read or write. Charlemagne loved education. He invited the smartest scholars to his palace. History tells us that Charlemagne kept wax tablets under his pillow at night. He practiced writing his letters in the dark so he could improve his skills. Even though he found it very difficult to learn as an adult, he made sure every monastery and church opened a school for children. He knew that an empire is built with swords, but it is kept alive with books. Because of his hard work, Europe entered a mini renaissance during a very dark time. 2. Saladin, the chivalrous conqueror. Now we move to the Middle East during the time of the Crusades. While European kings were trying to capture Jerusalem, a leader rose to unite the Muslim world. His name was Saladin, Salah ad-Din. To his people, he was a hero. To his enemies, he was a man of incredible honor. The fall of Jerusalem. In 1187, Saladin defeated the Crusader armies at the Battle of Hattin and captured Jerusalem. Many people expected a massacre because when the Crusaders had taken the city years before, they had been very violent. But Saladin was different. He offered a peaceful exit to the Christians living there. He even used his own money to help poor families pay their ransom so they could leave safely. The real story, the gift for a sick enemy. Saladin's greatest rival was King Richard the Lionheart. During one battle, Richard's horse was killed and he was fighting on foot. Saladin, watching from a distance, sent 2 of his best horses to Richard with a message. A king should not have to fight on foot. Later, when Richard fell sick with a high fever, Saladin did something even more amazing. He knew Richard loved cold fruit. Saladin sent his servants through the mountains to bring snow and fresh pears to his enemy. This kindness in the middle of a war made Saladin a legend in both the East and the West. He proved that you can be a powerful conqueror and a perfect gentleman at the same time. 3. Richard the Lionheart, the warrior king. If Saladin was the symbol of honor, Richard the Lionheart was the symbol of courage. Richard was the king of England, but he didn't spend much time there. He said England was cold and always raining. Instead, he spent his life on the battlefield, the heart of a lion. Richard was famous for being the first person to jump off the boats and run into the water to attack his enemies. He was a master of siege warfare. He led the Third Crusade with such energy that his name became a nightmare for his opponents. Even today, Richard represents the ideal knight in English history. The real story, the prisoner king. On his way back from the Crusades, Richard was captured and thrown into a prison in Austria. The King of England was missing. Legend says that his favorite musician, Blondel, traveled from castle to castle in Europe, singing a secret song that only he and Richard knew. When he finally heard Richard's voice singing back from a high window, he found the king. The people of England had to pay a massive king's ransom to get him back. It was so much money that the country became poor for years. When Richard finally returned, he didn't stay to rest. He went straight back to war in France. He died on the battlefield, not from a sword, but from an infected wound from a small arrow. He lived as a soldier and died as a soldier, leaving behind a name that will never be forgotten. It is amazing to see how these two enemies, Saladin and Richard, respected each other so much, isn't it? If you are enjoying these epic stories, please like this video and subscribe to 5 Point Historian. We are about to meet the richest man who ever lived. 4. Mansa Musa, the Golden King of Mali. When we talk about the Middle Ages, we often forget about Africa. But in the 14th century, the Mali Empire was one of the most successful places on earth. Its leader was Mansa Musa. He was not just a king, he was likely the wealthiest person in the history of the world, the Empire of Gold. Mali sat on top of massive gold mines. At that time, half of the world's gold came from Mansa Musa's kingdom. But Musa didn't just hide his gold in a palace. He used it to build a civilization. He turned the city of Timbuktu into a global center for science, religion, and books. The real story, the Hajj that broke the economy. In 1324, Mansa Musa decided to go on a pilgrimage to Mecca. He didn't travel alone. He took a caravan of 60,000 people. He had thousands of camels, and each one was carrying bags of pure gold. As he traveled through Cairo, Egypt, he was so generous that he gave gold to every poor person he saw. He bought so many things with gold that he actually accidentally ruined the economy of Egypt. There was so much gold in the streets that it lost its value. The price of gold stayed low for 10 years because of his visit. When he returned to Mali, he brought back architects and scholars to build mosques and libraries. He put Africa on the map, literally. In a famous map from 1375, Mansa Musa is shown sitting on a throne, holding a giant gold coin. 5. Alfred the Great, the savior of England. Our final king is Alfred the Great. He is the only English king to be called the Great. Why? Because without him, England would probably not exist today. The Viking threat. In the 9th century, the great heathen army of the Vikings invaded England. They destroyed every kingdom except one, Wessex, ruled by Alfred. Alfred was not a typical warrior. He was a sickly man who loved books more than swords. But when the Vikings pushed him into the swamps and marshes, he showed his true strength. The real story. The King and the Burnt Cakes. There is a very famous story about Alfred when he was hiding from the Vikings. He was staying in a poor woman's house, pretending to be a normal soldier. The woman asked him to watch her cakes while they were baking by the fire. Alfred was so busy thinking about his war strategy that he let the cakes burn. The woman shouted at him and called him stupid. Alfred didn't get angry. He didn't tell her he was the king. He quietly apologized and helped her make more. This story shows why the people loved him. He was humble. He eventually gathered a new army, defeated the Vikings at the Battle of Edington, and forced them to sign a peace treaty. He built the first English navy and began to translate books into the English language so everyone could learn. He saved a nation with his brain as much as his shield. These 5 kings, Charlemagne, Saladin, Richard, Mansa Musa, and Alfred, lived in different worlds and spoke different languages. But they all shared one thing. They were leaders who looked at the future. They didn't just want to win wars. They wanted to build something that would last. Charlemagne built schools, Saladin built a legacy of honor, Mansa Musa built centers of learning, and Alfred built a nation. Their stories remind us that true greatness is not just about the crown you wear, but about the impact you leave on the world. The Middle Ages were shaped by their hands, and our world today still carries their history. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the lives of the greatest kings. If you had to live in one of these kingdoms, which one would it be? Would you choose the golden streets of Mali or the schools of Charlemagne? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this episode, please like this video and subscribe to 5-Point Historian. Your support keeps the history alive. Stay curious, stay historical, and I will see you in the next video.